Hi there, welcome to Unit 10 of EDSE 614. You'll see that this is a 2-week unit, and we only have 2 submission components to focus on. I'm going to be wrapping up the Colvin text this unit, and we will be reading Shay as well. Our focus this week is on parents, guardians, family members as part of the plan, part of the IEP and behavior planning process. So we'll have an activity discussion for participation credit in this unit. And we will begin journal number 4. So you'll be able to take a look at the prompt. The rubric is included, and that journal will be just as you have done for previous journals. Will be due at the end of Unit 12. So you do have some extra time to work on that because you'll see we have 2-week units here. That is more common, these 2-week units at the end of our course, which, while we're not at the end, we are nearing moving into that second half and moving into wrapping things up. Time flies. So please do know the 2-week units are an opportunity for you to really work on that FBA BIP assignment. And the initial discussion post, because this unit is 2 weeks long for our activity discussion, will be due the first Sunday of the unit. So a week in to the unit, it begins on Monday. And that Sunday, after we've been in the unit for a week, your initial post will be due by 11:59 p.m. So you've got a week to write that. And then your minimum of 2 responses will be due by the second Sunday night of the unit, which is the final evening of Unit 10 before we'll move into Unit 11. So both of those will be Sunday at 11:59 p.m., the first Sunday after we've been going for a week in this unit for the initial post, and then the second Sunday for your minimum 2 response posts. And then, obviously, as always, we will review the content provided within the unit. So you'll see here that there is a written component here regarding parent involvement. And when we use the word parent in this unit, please be aware this also refers to guardians. This can refer to grandparents, aunts and uncles, foster parents or families, or a single solo parent, or whoever is providing the support and educational leadership or guardianship within the home for the student. So be aware, just for ease of speech, in some of these documents or videos you'll see the word parent, but I want everybody to know that that can look a lot of different ways, and it really is the adult or adults with whom you're collaborating within the home. I have had families where it may be difficult to reach a biological parent, but there's an adult age sibling who is heavily involved in transporting and supporting the student or students and is a great point of contact or communication, especially if there's difficulty with those biological parents. So please be aware when it comes to educational decision-making rights, that may be any given person or persons who is an adult involved in the life of the child. So that is what we're referring to when we see the word parent here. And you'll see there is a video lecture also provided by Dr. Francie Murray. This is a video about maximizing parent involvement, so please do take the time to watch that one. There's a document included here that you can reference as you watch that. And it addresses the value of family, community, and school coming together. So understand that if the school is our sphere of influence, the family overlaps with that, but there's so much here that goes on that we may not know or be aware of, or that we cannot thoroughly impact, but we do have this crossover here, and we want to widen this as much as we can while maintaining appropriate boundaries so that we can truly support the family while respecting the parent or family members as the person who is the expert on the child and sees the child in multiple settings that we may not be able to access. Keep in mind the community here as well, and the overlap there with the school, the influences of the community on the child on a day-to-day basis, and ultimately all 3 of these work together as factors for the success and the outcomes of any given student. So you can keep that visual in mind. It's kind of an extended Venn diagram there. This is an article that I want to make sure everybody reviews because it particularly focuses on behavior. And while it is an article from 1996, it is interesting to get that perspective from a couple decades ago and really understand the outcomes here. And a lot of it is still quite applicable. So please do review this study. And that'll be information on family perspectives regarding behavior. You see here also that there is information. This is a lovely video. It's just a couple minutes long if you want to take a look at it. Remember, parents are dealing with factors that we may not experience. For instance, if behavior issues or other problems with the child or challenges are causing the parent to have to wake up multiple times in the night or not sleep well. That's not something that we as school providers encounter. So that is a factor, for instance, that when the students get on the bus at the end of the day, we no longer have the responsibility to ensure the child's safety or provide any service to the child. And that is something that is then taken on by the parents over the breaks, during times when students are home from school, or even, some of the weekends or longer weekends. All of these challenges can occur in the home setting if a student becomes ill, etc. So keep those things in mind as we're looking at supporting parents and collaborating with them. There's a lot that we don't see or encounter. There are 2 PDF articles here included. Please do check these out for ideas about working with families, because a teacher or a provider should never feel intimidated or uncomfortable with a parent or family phone call, but instead see it as an opportunity to build trust and collaborate. And oftentimes it can be helpful to bring in administrators, engage with those who can provide additional perspective and keep it from becoming that intense one-on-one conversation, especially if things are moving in a direction of conflict so extreme that litigation may be something taken into consideration. It's very important to just keep those lines of communication open with multiple stakeholders from the school setting involved to show parents that the team really is behind the child and is collaborative and that they want to make the family a part of that process. So this is a document with just some ideas and suggestions and solutions. This is an article by Tracy Gershwin, who is also an instructor here at UNC, regarding a practice called IEP facilitation, facilitated IEP. And this is an article that is very important to read because it is an alternate dispute resolution method. This was from Teaching Exceptional Children. There's a case study here. The facilitated IEP can help families engage better and with less conflict with school teams. So a neutral facilitator must be present. There's an agenda document that is provided to all participants, clearly outlining what the meeting will entail, goals that are provided by each member of the team, and that would include parent or parents, family members, ground rules or norms set for the meeting for a collaborative environment, and communication strategies in place such as active listening. One of those norms might be to avoid interruption, and the use of a parking lot. And you'll see further information in the article, but a parking lot is something that can go up on the wall, for instance, perhaps a large piece of paper, or it could be on a whiteboard for ideas, problems, issues, suggestions that come up. They can be added to that parking lot, written into that piece of paper or onto that whiteboard to say, we'll get to that. And then those can be addressed at another time in the meeting, or perhaps at another meeting, in a phone call, in writing, or whatever the team determines is most appropriate. But that helps with some of those bunny trails, for lack of a more professional word, some of those conversational tangents that can occur, and that can be on the part of the school or the family. It's really both or either, where those little things can come up, and then 15, 20, 30 minutes into the meeting, we're still kind of going down that road and we've lost sight of the focus on the student and the focus on the IEP document itself, or whatever the team is working on. So you'll see here descriptions of each of those components, a checklist for the person who is the neutral facilitator, and multiple other pieces of valuable information here. So this is an example agenda for a student meeting. You can see the appropriate time is allocated for each topic, and staying close to this, although things can be flexible, it's important to keep this in mind as a guideline to ensure that the meeting is on track, and allocating larger periods of time to the most important parts here of the meeting, making sure that the focus is in the right place. A couple different websites and resources for families, parents or guardians. Then you'll see here is our discussion. So after you have reviewed and reflected on all this information, think about what preventative plans you might have in place to avoid negative encounters with parents. And again, that could be family members, guardians, a foster home, etc., that you may find it difficult or challenging to work with. So please do cite your sources from this unit or additional sources as appropriate. Then the second question to answer will be, are there skills that you would like to improve or acquire as a result of knowing that parents should be treated as team members, not as guests or as people who are just kind of along for the ride or observing the school-based team coming up with a document, but truly those who have valuable input and should be able to weigh in and contribute throughout the process so that everyone can come to a workable plan with the student's best interests in mind. And again, the first post, the initial response with source citation, will be due on the first Sunday of the unit after we've been working for a week on the content, and that is at 11:59 p.m. Minimum of 2 responses due by the final Sunday, so right at the end of the unit, the last day, at 11:59 p.m. And then you'll see here the information for the journal entry number 4. Please do hit on all the required points, cite the readings, check out the rubric for that. As always, that will be detailed in there. But do add your own thoughts, reflections, consider your own practice, etc. All of that will enrich your journal entry and increase your learning as well. And that's it for Unit 10. Please get in touch with any questions or concerns.